we, the United States, run around the world telling other economies that their way out of poverty is to invest in women and bring women into their economic engine. Yet we aren't doing the same thing right here when 58% of all college students are women. Why wouldn't we be investing in women becoming the engineers and technologists of the future when they're more than half of the college population? Almost all valedictorians in the United States, majority women.
So be daring and go where your heart leads you, but go informed and prepared. Take risks and go where no woman or few have gone before, knowing that we all have your back. You can always come here to kvetch, lean in, or on, commiserate, and celebrate. Like, that's what she made.
It makes it near impossible to not just want to give up, to not actually internalize and feel all of that of, yeah, no, you're right. Like, I am an imposter. How could I not be? Look around the room. Look at what you're telling me. Look at what everyone else is telling me.
And even my professors told me that it was impossible, that like I was crazy because I went to a tiny liberal arts college. Why would they take me over a kid that went to Stanford? She goes, you applied for the award. You know you're meant to be in tech. You know how I don't belong in this group. And Ruthe looked at me and said, I don't care if you won the award for national, won the local award. She's like, you are all winners because you are all doing it. And I will help all of you.
Teary-eyed. She's so much more to me than a mentor. And seeing all her hard work, I really appreciate that she can scale her work, not just like impact my life, but she's able to impact thousands of women's life through her work.
A powerhouse of knowledge, a change maker.
In our group channels would paste opportunities, and she does that till this day, by the way, on a pretty much on a daily basis. Since 2010, I've seen her live and be the example of what it means to just be a role model for all of us.
Grew into this insanely collaborative community, and it was all Ruthe who was running this program.
Like, this isn't for me, I can't do it. And she helped me push through. I would call Ruthe in tears, literal tears, and I would tell her, this isn't for me. Because if she didn't encourage me, then I wouldn't have picked that route.
She is family, and I really do feel that connection with her. She is somebody that I could call at any point in my life, any crisis or happy moment, and share that with her, and she would be there for me. And I think immediately the first time I met her, I was like, this is what it's like to have a fairy godmother. Her connections remain forever. And she's always reaching out, wanting to know, like, where are you at in life? Like, this is where I'm at. Let's hang out, let's meet up. I just feel so lucky that you know, that early on in my life, somebody cared enough to invest in me.
Now, Ruthe has been a powerhouse from the moment I met her. Like, that is her brand promise. When she supports students, she gets to know them, and she often becomes personal advocates for them. She helps them through hard spots. She mentors them. She gives them advice. She finds them more opportunities. So just how great she is at networking, and how great she is at connecting people within networking and to her network, and how generous she is. Led a very mission-based career around It doesn't matter where you're born or who you're born to. You should have access to an innovation economy and all the benefits that brings.
And she's somebody that I trust. I feel like she's inside my circle of the good people that I want to be on the team with them. She's saying the truth about what she really believes and what she really supports, and she's not putting on a fake front.
Ruth has a sincere desire of helping people. She doesn't just talk about it. She does it and has been doing it consistently and predictably over the years.
She's an exceptional person right off the bat. Very clear is she's a helper and just a very powerful connector.
Their higher test scores, like they can do it. And I feel like tech and engineering is sort of the last holdout. We've gotten law, we've gotten medicine, but like this is the last place. And it's only going to help everyone when we broaden the diversity of who's there.
And women in STEM, I think, we feel this pretty much every day, but we take it to another level, because it's one thing to believe that we don't belong or to feel like we don't belong, and it's a completely other thing to have the people that we work with actively telling us we don't belong.
For me, it was, feeling like I didn't belong for most of my childhood, because I went to dozens of different elementary schools. I managed to go to one junior high, but 2 different high schools, so constantly changing schools.
She is a force multiplier. So whether she was working for a local Girl Scout affiliate, she was thinking every girl in the US.
I think she knows that people suffer, and I think she really truly believes that she can make a difference, and she does.
I would definitely say I identified, or I felt like an outcast in school, but I think actually I would frame it as like I was a survivor. Older kids have a different childhood than the younger kids. And so in our family, there was the girls and the babies. And so my sister and I were the girls. I felt forgotten a lot of the time because I was so self-reliant. And the younger ones were like, I want this, I want this, I want that. And they didn't really know any better to not ask.
When you invest in projects that Ruth has created, you're going to get scalable impact out the other side.
The thing that I have that I feel like other people don't have, or whatever is my secret superpower, is I'm able to make connections between things that other people don't see. So why would the Department of Defense pay for computer science in US high schools, right? Been down to Mississippi and I met this guy who was doing this like tech ecosystem for Mississippi. And he's like, yeah, in my day job, I'm the commandant of the 6th Battalion of the Army JROTC. And I was like, tell me about that. And he's like, yeah, we have 90,000 kids across the Deep South. I was like, what? I was like, you have 90,000 kids in this network? Like, right. Tell me more, right? So I took that list and the list of high schools that offered advanced placement computer science, and the overlap was 16%. So there's 545,000 kids in this junior ROTC infrastructure going to high schools where they could not prepare for a modern military job if they wanted to. So I was able to take this information to senators and congresspeople on both sides of the aisle and say, look, to do something. And ultimately what we did was write and pass the Promotes Act of 2020, which was passed in the 2021 Defense Act, which authorized a grant program to fund capacity building in junior ROTC high schools for high demand STEM, computer science, cybersecurity, engineering, etc.
My assumption is that she's experienced this firsthand, and that's why she wants to help others.
So my childhood is really, really different than most people. We moved a tremendous number of times. I probably couldn't even count how many first grades I went to.
When you experience like hardships, it makes you want to help others too.
In the United States, the wealthiest students receive 34% more private financial aid than the poorest. And that is built into this system, this false system of merit, that we're giving high value scholarships based on merit to students who probably had test prep for the SAT and the other exams to get them those high scores, probably had tutors, had all the after school and out of school time resources. So it's not that they are necessarily innately more talented than students who haven't had that preparation, but the system is designed to favor those that have. Who's in the wealthiest quartile of Americans is going to get $11,500 of non-federal financial aid, whereas the poorest students get $7,500 on average, which is ridiculous and egregious that it's so broken that we're giving money to people who absolutely do not need it.
Because I was the new kid over and over and over, going to a different school or a different community and having to sort of establish myself. Early childhood into 5th grade, we were pretty much on the move. Changing states, changing cities, changing schools all the time. I mean, I would say my life up until age 30 was a real struggle. Like, I was picking strawberries for money when I was 8. Like, I have that scarcity experience from being poor when I was young.
I would say that it's her compassion and her empathy.
And there were points where we were living in our car. I mean, I thought we were camping because I was small and we were all together, and my whole frame of reference was my siblings.
Just always been very determined. If she said she's going to do something, she's going to do something.
She inspires in me holding true to that longer term vision. All kids should have the opportunity to work in those industries and make a really decent wage in a STEM career if they want to do that.
She told my mother when she was like 5 or 8 or something like that. She said, "Grandma, I'm going to be somebody."
In many ways, the corporate hiring systems are conflating privilege with potential. To take a step back and think about, like, what are we looking for in talent? Because I would rather hire somebody who failed, struggled, and kept going than someone who has never hit a bump. So we're sort of disrupting the traditional scholarship model, and it takes some of our funders a little bit of time to kind of understand, no, this isn't about merit necessarily, it's about enabling merit.
I would want a career where I could fully support myself and the children if anything were to happen to my husband. I'm coming up in my last year, and I'm actually heading into my last semester. So I'm just a few months from graduation. So I'm very close, but I'm running into this issue, right? We hit a point where my husband is not working and money's not coming in. He is the sole provider.
I kept seeing really promising young people stumbling in the late stages of their programs for no good reason, for trivial reasons, like not being able to afford to get to an internship or not being able to pay some past due balance. So I was intervening, using my social capital to solve problems, using my personal capital, using my air miles.
Essentially, I wouldn't be able to pay my rent. We have to support our 2 children, right? We have so many bills. I need to pay the internet just so I can do my homework. There are just a lot of things that were kind of falling apart.
The second challenge we face is students believing that we're real. Because it's so bizarre for someone to say to you, I don't care what your GPA is. You don't have to write a big essay or prove to me anything. I'm just going to give you money. So
grateful. I felt like they didn't make me prove that I was dirt poor to help me. And so many institutions, I feel like you have to I feel like prove that you have nothing. And I felt like there was so much compassion and understanding. And I mean, it makes me emotional because you don't see it a lot. And I was so grateful. They helped me in that moment.
Together, Sarah, Ryan, and I sat down in 2019 and we're like, this is great, but you shouldn't have to be lucky enough to happen to have someone in your life that can do this intervention. So we have to figure out how to scale this.